Hi and welcome to Demo Me. I'm your host Nati Minicota and I'm here with the talented Jake Minch. How we doing, buddy?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Happy to have you here.
Let me tap right in the street. My bad.
Talk to me about where you grew up, because I have a lot of questions about it.
Cool.
Okay.
I was born in Monroe, Connecticut, and that is where I grew up. Spent a lot of time doing like theater in high school, doing sports, and then like now finishing this season.
What sport? I quit volleyball weekend.
I think I finished every season except for football. I had a kid who was like double my height, who like
Crush you.
yeah, one bad night. My mom was like, "You're out."
That's good. They get concussions.
Yeah.
What were you doing in theater? Were you the mid-league guy?
I grew up in one of those towns where like 3 boys did theater and one of them could sing.
And that was you?
Yeah, so I didn't hit puberty until like junior year of high school. So like high school theater was tough.
Were you soprano?
I don't want to. Next question.
Okay, so you're from Connecticut, which doesn't track as a listener. So talk me through how you ended up with a folky kind of sound. Who were your inspirations? Mm-hmm. How did you land on what you sound like now?
Well, after I was no longer doing sports in the summers, I'd get out of school and have nothing to do. And so I fell into YouTube. And I got super into like Dodie and Cape Town. So the fact that I'm not singing with like an English accent
is a miracle.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly. But yeah, no, I mean, that was like my intro to like picking up a guitar and actually knowing what to do was like Dodie posted a tutorial on how to play She. And then I also like, I learned ukulele.
Of course.
And would just write like, the most gnarly, like, I'm so sad songs to basically the chords of Hug All Your Friends.
Oh.
Yeah. It was awesome.
Where's that demo?
Yeah.
And how old were you during all that?
I, like, middle school ukulele, I had a crush on, I dated someone in high school, and I used to write them, like, really gross songs on guitar, and, like, the guitar I had at home, like the frets were super high up, so I would like show up with like bloody fingers and be like, "Here's the worst song you've ever heard." And I was like 16, and then, it was like right before COVID happened was when I found OpenD, and then Lizzie McAlpine, and then Phoebe Bridgers, and then, yeah.
And then, as in terms of like male vocalists or where you kind of got your sound from, you mentioned earlier John Mayer. I'm outing you on that.
Yes, it's hard to live in Fairfield County and not notice the shrines. And so I was never going to play Neon, but definitely there was a time when like we'd like go to school things or like family things, and mom would be like, "Oh, Jake's playing guitar," and they'd be like,
"Young Johnny." There's worse things to be compared to.
Yeah,
he's incredible.
Yeah.
And so you were in high school, middle school, and high school. How old were you when COVID hit?
I was 17.
That's so weird.
I know. It is.
Did that make you lock further in? How was the reception to you doing music as a young person?
So I think at the time that I was posting online, I could not see how many shares were happening on my videos. But even like growing up, like very like I love musical theater. Anyone who would have given me a problem did like I was like I was way too confident. I was the kid who was like walking down the hall like
belting.
Not everything, but you know? And so,
I was a theater kid too. I'm honestly, unfortunately, I know exactly what you're talking about. I was there too. I did the same thing.
Like trying to get people. Like my little sister she was a pretty good. Anyone who did give me shit, like my grade was like, yeah, Jake's chill. There was like the younger grade. I remember my little sister told me this story about like walking out of like the in-school production of Mamma Mia, and I was Sky, and I was like,
iconic.
Yeah, I was like crawling on top of a girl and like trying not to giggle.
I can't.
Yeah.
I can't.
And then this kid was like walking unknowingly behind my sister, and he was like, "Well, Jake's totally gay." And she like turned around, and she was like, "Say it again."
We all need that.
Yeah. So no, and then by the time I was posting on TikTok, I knew that I wasn't going back to school, so it like wasn't gonna affect me.
Right.
And so yeah, no one like gave me trouble, and then I only found out in hindsight that like I'm sure my TikToks had gotten sent around to group chats, but by then like I'd already had like Liz makeup on.
Exactly. Not your problem. Y'all
TikTok,
be safe.
yeah.
I'll be counting through something.
Yeah.
Okay, and so then in that like very developing time for you as a human being,
Mhm.
then who was the first person that believed in you to actually feel like you could do this for a living?
I honestly, that is like that was like a huge wave. There were like a couple who like made me believe that I could do it without meeting them. Massac High School has like two kids, like 2 grades above me was this band called Waveform that I don't know if they still make music. And then there was Eric DOA was a grade above me. And then, yeah, that was funny. One time I went and saw a show, and someone told Eric that I was there, and he like ran up and he was like, "Oh my God, how you doing? How's your sister?"
Was it common for like a lot of musicians to come out of, was it an art school or no? It was just a coincidence.
Everyone waited till they left high school to like,
That makes sense.
yeah. But yeah, the first person to really believe in me was this guy, Danny Racco. It was like all my videos were like fine, and then I had like the worst Tinder hookup of my life, and like the like
At
2
what
days-
age, excuse me?
Freshman in college.
Okay,
Yeah.
kosher,
Yeah.
legal.
Yeah, 2 days before Valentine's Day, and then I posted this song that I wrote like 10 minutes before, and I was like, "If you're hearing this, like, I miss you." It was so bad, and I did not get a text, but I did get like, it was just all of my idols like in one video, and I remember like just the amount of screenshots I have of like my TikTok notifications that day.
That's so sick.
It was awesome. And then Danny messaged me, and he was like, "Hey, the Instagram account you have attached to your TikTok looks like one you made when you were 8 years old." And I was
Which is
like,
probably true.
"That's because it is." I did not know that. Thank you. And then he was like, "Also, I have a record label." And he was on tour with his artist Breakins,
Mhm.
and he drove up from New Jersey to Yukon to listen to me play songs in my dorm. And I played him a song called Handgun. And I was like, "I don't know if this is anything, like, this makes me like seem really cool, and I'm not really cool." And then he was like, that's the song. And then he told me like exactly what time to post the TikTok, and like we recorded it 1,000 times. And because of that, like,
What was that process like, especially going from such a private place of really launching yourself into it during COVID, where TikTok was like kind of like the only world you had outside of like your house, and a lot of young artists blew up like that. You're not the only one.
yeah,
And then to actually be like physically in a space with a physical musician, knowing that you're going to be like out there as a
Dude.
human being.
gnarly. I was like really confident, as I mentioned. And then when I was doing like the thing that I actually wanted to do, it was like really vulnerable. And I'd like played songs for like, I had a friend Lexi in college who like anytime I write a song, she heard it. I wrote a song called Strip Mall. In the second verse, I remember like being on the phone with her and being like, "Danny wants a second verse. Like, all I kind of want to say is like, I hate that I'm old in a dorm now. I hate that you're old in our hometown. I hate what you do. I love being younger with you." And she was like, "Go
So,
right."
Yeah, you just did it. By the way.
Yeah. But yeah, no, that was when he came to the dorm. It was really scary. And I remember like poor guy just tried to make small talk with a brick wall.
Yeah.
I was like, who are you? Like, but yeah, I mean, he was super welcoming and really like the other people engaging with it tends to make me like draw inward and hide. Like I do my best stuff when I feel like no one's watching. So, yeah, I do love being a recluse and like that.
Well, that's what breeds a lot of good music. I think a lot of people, we've talked about this with other guests that we've had on, and what is the motivation? And a lot of people are like, I love being seen and being perceived and being out there, which is a great thing. And it's that you picked the right career for that. But a lot of people just want to communicate to the best of their ability. And to that is like doing music theater. I was a huge theater kid, and my breakout role was I was Belle in fucking
Shit.
Beauty and the Beast. There we go. I was like, what was it?
Yeah.
And my director was like, you have the talent of saying every single line wrong, but for some reason meaning the exact same thing. He's like, you're rewriting everything that you're doing, right?
Yeah, I had a job at Dairy Queen where I got that complimented a couple times.
At Dairy Queen?
Yeah, they were like, this is not what I ordered, but you were a great time at the game.
Exactly. The world is your stage. And you're improvising even.
Yeah.
But to go from being like a vessel for, especially in musical theater where everything is timed to a T, and then you have such a big crew, you have such a big chorus, like, as, lead people ourselves, and having like kind of like to adapt to a world, and then you are world building yourself. So to there, I want to talk about, was Handgun your first single that you actually put out? That's a beautiful song, by the way. Very beautiful song. And then from there going to an EP, and then your music videos, like you've created a world that is so specific to you. In terms of the direction of that, was it this person that helped you out with it, or was it genuinely like, I have all of this ready and I just need a vessel?
It's a really good question. I think with Danny, she is still someone I go to when I need like a commercial opinion. I remember there was like a bridge for Handgun that was like just too much.
Bridges are tough.
Bridges
are so
yeah. I mean, I was just like, I love being emo in songs, and it just wasn't like gonna work. And he was like, maybe not that. Realistically though, like especially if you go through his like arsenal, like it is all people who have spons and know what they want.
As you should.
Yeah. So I come to him with finished products.
That's really hard to do in general, but especially as such a young artist. Like, I think that is what's most impressive about looking you up. Not only have you diverted from what Connecticut usually sounds like, but
Connecticut with a country accent.
Yeah, deadass. I'm like, what? But obviously it works, and I think that there's just a lot of longing and a lot of, I don't know, things that would indicate to you probably not being the most secure, which is a normal part of the human experience, but to have such a concrete world around your music, that is rare, especially at such a young age. That's something you develop with time.
Well, that is also something I developed with the help of Tony Berg, who made the album. That was like, I think that you can hear like a clear shift in like, I'd also been kind of, and you'll hear it in the demos later, like I had a really bad habit of singing stuff with kind of this like baby voice, and Tony like loved him to death, but it was like a big, like, I'm not going to hold your hand. I'm not here to be like a babysitter. This is like, come to me when you know what you want. Try to make me laugh. Like,
huge.
Yeah.
Good advice.
Yeah.
Terrifying.
It's been fun. Also, like, if he's not having fun, he leaves the fucking room.
I love that. I'm trying to get to that place.
Yeah, it's awesome.
That's sick.
So that's fun.
And you did the album with him, not the EP, or was that all kind of recorded in a similar timeline?
No, I did. So writing the first batch of songs were, if you don't count the songs I wrote for my high school relationship and the ones, like the unrequited love ones that I was posting on TikTok.
Which is what music, 90% of music is that. 100% all across the board.
Yeah. But first 6 songs I finished came out. Which is, yeah.
What was the reception to that? How did you feel actually putting out like a full product and not kind of depending of the algorithm, even though it's still a big factor?
Yeah, I mean, it was hard, but it quickly made sense more so than, like, the difference between the dopamine and the serotonin was really important. And even now, like, when I'm writing a song, or like I'm like, now it takes me much longer to write a song, so I have to like put in the work every day
without the immediate gratification.
And that first, like, oh, this is good dopamine hit will make me not pick up this, or I'll listen to the song, but then I won't work on it again for a couple days, which is,
that's healthy.
Thanks.
Yeah. I think even having that awareness of, you know, the dopamine, like, I just think that you're so mature for your age. But you are, and I think that having that relationship, especially being noticed and coming from like a smaller place, being recognized, having like this crutch of online, and like, sure, girls found you really cute and that helped for the algorithm and things like that. So there is this, I don't know, it's a breathing, living thing when you're making music, but when you're shut in the studio making something that's going to take a longer time to come out, or something that you're not going to be able to publish for a while, that's true. There is like this vacancy of interaction where you're like, y'all didn't like that?
Dude, oh my God. Like, and it's always like my favorite ones where I'm like, oh, this is so cool.
We can so cut this, but when that's my best friend, and she manages like the social medias for Raise, like the bar that we were at. We made a dick joke that got 13 million views.
Awesome.
And then we put out hours of work into these things, and then it's like I watch it fucking blue. And again, it really is not like no one cares, but it's like when you know you're building something real and constructive, then you know that it's gonna A, have access, like less people are gonna have access to it, but B, it's something that's gonna live longer. And
yes,
kind of like mediating that difference, it's a bitch. Like, it really is hard to do so, and it's like an ego thing. And a lot of our jobs are just a lot of it's ego as well.
It's I pick up this thing because I'm not good at pool.
I'm terrible.
But I
beer
can.
pong.
Yeah, but like put a couple drinks in me, and I'll do this thing called like a shot and an investment.
Okay.
Where you like knock one in, and then you like completely fuck it up. But if one like kind of goes near a hole, you're like, all right, that's an investment.
I like.
We'll shoot you doing that later.
Absolutely. Okay. I want to see the investment.
Thanks.
No, that's a really good. That's a good point.
So that like when a video doesn't land on the first try, and I no one likes to repeat themselves, but when it doesn't land first try, I like to imagine
they got you close.
Like the first time I listened to the MJ Lenderman record and someone was like shoving it down my throat, I was like, oh, and then I saw him live and I was like, oh.
I had the exact same.
Yeah.
I heard knocking and I was like, oh, what? So let's get deep and sad, which is our job. I want to talk about George. I want to talk about, hate referencing your age because I was a person, I was like, I've always been 100. And I'm like, and everyone that doesn't see that is fucked up.
Yeah.
But you have so much depth to you, and in you know, the on paper, the whole Connecticut thing, I don't see how that bred what you've been through and your experience.
Thanks. I
want to know if you feel like you've lived a similar life to the people around you. You can answer that first.
I'm trying to think about what my mom would like to hear out online. We grew up, my dad died. And my mom, it's okay. Mom got a second job. Dad still did. She worked really hard, but also like we were the poor kids in a wealthy town.
Mm-hmm.
And it like, Monroe's not the Connecticut you think about when you think about Connecticut.
Definitely not. And I've never been, so that's like I've been to like 2 states in the U.S. and I'm keeping it cute like that.
It's fun. I like I'll meet managers now, and they'll be like, "Oh, we've got a house in Rowita."
Like, I'm sure you do.
Wrong,
bitch.
Yeah. Let me know when you want. Bill's driving.
Yeah. So no Harvard, no Stanford, none of that.
No. Oh my God, that's the other thing too. Like I was in college studying It was undecided, but then I was telling people to like look bigger than I was, and I studying anthropology on a pre-law track. Like,
I did anthropology at an art school, and that meant nothing, and I'm a bartender now, and I do this.
Congrats on being 6 figures in debt.
And thank God for that.
Yeah. Wait, sorry, I forgot the question.
No, it's perfect. It's just about your experience being like the one of your parents. Probably not, if you grew up around a lot of wealthy people.
And I grew up like, well, I really got a kick out of that.
Yeah.
Like there's an ego thing that happens that it requires like a lot of unlearning later in life. But I grew up without a dad. I like grew up really without an adult male. And so like I never really saw like role models. And so I definitely like, I had to learn shit by like feeling around in the dark.
Yeah. But especially when it comes to adulthood, I think a lot of people have that experience, especially if you are missing that like main character in your life. And I have a lot of people in my life whose mother had to take both roles. And obviously that has a lot to do with like gender perception and all these different things. But you say that you developed an ego about it and you're unlearning it. A, smart way of putting it, truly. And then B, it's a survival mechanism. So that cannot be, like, that's not a negative thing. It's just it's a process.
Exactly.
So when it comes to your music and the way that you tackle these issues in music, you speak a lot about addiction. And that is, to some extent, like a universal experience when it comes to poverty, just because those things are so strongly interlinked for a reason and for a cause and the state. And we're going to put it that way. But how did you tackle those issues before you arrived to music? And how did it make you comfortable enough to discover it?
I've been trying to write a song for a really long time about like the frustration of watching not my parent, but parents in general doing this thing where they the analogy is that instead of learning how to swim and teaching kids how to swim, they will cling to the side of the pool, which works, but then we got blind. And so that, really, like when I think about writing the album, it was a lot of me, like, it's basically everything but the Georgia Lee by Tom Waits. like why was there no one there?
100%.
And I think that was our goal with the Change Things music video too. Is that it's not even anyone's fault.
Devastating, by the way. Fucking devastating. I mean, it is no one's fault. I think the perspective that you have now is of a father. Like, if in some way, like you've skipped a couple stages. I'm sure it wasn't all peachy, clean in your head and in your heart when you were going through these emotions. But your arrival in saying that it's no one's fault, and even in the music video, no one's a villain. No one's depicted as a villain. It's just a lot of people that are lost, and that's like no one's inherent fault. And
I think that for a while, have you seen Challengers?
Yeah, of course.
Like when what's her name, Tashi?
Yeah.
Says like in the beginning of the movie, she goes, "I don't want to only know how to swing a racket," and then at the end of the movie, she goes, "Well, I only know how to swing a racket." That was like my thing for a while as a songwriter. Was that like I'm like, if this gets taken away from me, like I would
have enough.
And then I realized that I would probably just do it anyway. And like I have like an idea now where like I was able to like quote one with my friends Liam and Isaac today. That's like Isaac said something and then he like put the ball on the tee and I said, "No one knows more about the world than the worst guy you've ever met." And it was like such a fun
fact.
And so it's great, and I think that has like put some lights around in the dark,
Totally. And then in terms of like the roadmap of where, I mean, 2 questions, mostly with performances. What was your first time ever performing, especially coming out of this like super circular TikTok world where like there's a kind of one kind of thing. The most interaction you have is on live, which is difficult to watch for any artist ever. I'm like, God, please put the cowboy hats away.
Oh my God, I get so sweaty.
I'm sure. I'm like, I would not want to do that. I'll tell you that right now. But, I mean, what was your first performance live? Like, your first step out of that world? How comfortable were you? What did that look like?
Okay. I know the question is about the first performance, but
Hit
I'll
me
give
with
like
whatever. Yeah.
I signed record deal, and then in July of like 2022, management in December, moved out to LA in February.
That's crazy.
And then I recorded the EP, signed with my booking agent. It was in like basically a week. I played like one of three at Genghis Khan. Bless you.
P's and Q's, everyone.
I played one of three at Genghis Cohen, which was awesome because that was the first time anyone like came to see me play.
Yeah.
I opened for the Head and the Heart at the Bellwether.
Oh, that's
It was terrifying, but yeah.
That's sick. Usually correlated. Terrifying sick.
Wait, and there was another one, and then I went straight to Europe. I did 4 shows 4 days in a row in a place where I'm legally allowed to drink. And so I would like get off stage, be like, "Wow, that was terrible." I opened for Holly Humberstone.
Oh my God.
Yeah, in Amsterdam.
That's sick.
Yeah, but I get on stage and that voice in the back of my head is like, "You don't know how to play guitar. You don't know your words. Get off stage, get off stage, get off stage." And then I'd be in fight with like for 30 minutes. Like my manager would be like, "Look at the videos, like you did great." And I'd be like, "Get me a drink."
Yeah. Get me out of here, give me a drink, make my arms work again, please.
I'd like borderline blackout and then like at 4 a.m. get on a train and just go to the next place. And it was awesome. But it took until like, I think, like I opened for Jeremy Zucker on tour. And that was awesome because then I was playing like rooms of like 2,000 people, and I would throw myself in a broom closet and jump around for an hour and like get all the nervous energy out, and it was great.
Did you have someone with? Did you guys know each other by then, or no? You were raw dogging. You were by
Liam's
yourself.
a new guy, yeah.
Oof.
No, it was me, my manager, and then sometimes my ex was there, and that was honestly really fun.
You need a comfort X.
Everyone needs a comfort X, whether they're in person or in your heart.
Or in the back of your head.
Dude. But then slowly over time, like by the time I did a tour opening for Sadie Jean, and then by the end of a tour opening for Grace Anger, I would like be asleep on the couch 10 minutes before, which had its own issues, but and then it's also much easier when people are there for you.
Yeah. You don't have to win them. They're like there. You just have to keep them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so your last performance until what you're about to do, which is like a huge fucking thing, which we will talk about that later.
Yeah.
What was your last performance?
My last performance was my buddy Leon has been in Ken Park.
Shout out.
Shout out. And my buddy Jonah played at Northeastern. We did like our first college show where we got to headline, which is like fun because it's
fun.
like you.
College shows are fun. Yeah.
And that was cool because I did a headline tour in August that was awesome. And yeah, like I have no qualms. It was musically everything but the click.
Mm-hmm.
And like no tracks. It sounded phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like I watched videos back and I'm like, okay.
Killed that.
But then this period has been about like when I made the album, a lot of it was just learning to like let go and trust someone. And so Tony had a lot of calls, and so we were touring like Tony and I's record. Now, because it's me and Liam and Jonah, we spent like 3 days in a rehearsal space just like revamping everything, and there's like a section of drawing a tattoo that we do that feels like super fucking Irish. And every time I like listen back, I like want to do a jig, you know?
Yeah. Turn it up, dude.
Yeah, it's really, it's just exciting. Like this is swimming.
Yeah.
And so this is, yeah. it's been really like I got off stage and I was like on fire. And also like it was funny because August tour, I had a friend be like, "You have a crush on Michael," who's like our pianist. And then this November tour, I had a friend be like, "Are you and Liam?"
Like, I'm just gonna have to say it by now. Next record.
No, now Jonah's in the mix, and my friend Lexi was like, some challenge.
Like, actually, we're all having sex with each other all the time, and that's why the music is good.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like looking at both of them, just like so, like accidentally, but like so, just endearing. It's fun to like know that like you're in the right place.
They got you too.
Yeah, and it's for the first time like I'll like let off the guitar and just like let them do something for little bits, and it's so yeah.
Talk to me about what you brought for us today.
I have like a proper just original voice memo, and I'm honestly really curious to see if all the lyrics still match. I'm really good at getting in the studio and being like,
it's a musical theater, and you were just it's a Dairy Queen, and you were just
yeah.
Okay, perfect. Let's start with the shower.
Oh shit.
Said it search your fingers and your clothes. You think we don't know, but we all know. 'Cause it sticks to your fingers and your clothes. Alright, like you don't. I don't know where you go. It's that simple.
Amazing. And now we go to the real one. You literally have tears in your eyes.
Dude, holy fuck.
I can just picture you head down,
That was-
water dripping down your fucking face.
That was a much better idea earlier.
I loved it. and now to the OG demo. It gets really sad now.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Said it sticks to your fingers and your clothes. And you think we don't know, but we all know. 'Cause it sticks to your fingers and your clothes. I was half drunk, walking you to bed. I was older than you, but I was younger then. I was never gonna listen and you wanted it, but I wanted to so bad. I was learning what addiction is. We didn't know what we were doing then, oh, but I was hanging on your fingers and your clothes. Said it sticks to your fingers and your clothes. Anything we don't know, but we all know. 'Cause it sticks to your fingers and your clothes. They say, tell me where your mind goes. 4 years and you're still not over it. There's something that was shorter than a cigarette, but it sticks to your fingers and your clothes. Slipping through my hand. Please, there's nothing after you. There's nothing after that. Said it sticks to your fingers and your
was sad.
Oh my god, that kid was so sad.
Dude, that is how a lot of this.
But you know how I can tell that you are the one that's playing?
Because
It
it's really fucking
it's-
loud.
And but it's like your body is moving with it. Like
Yeah,
it really, I can
thank you.
tell. And it's really, really beautiful.
God, I listen to way too much Bright Eyes.
I was gonna say that it makes me think of.
Yeah?
Thank you. And I just like,
I don't know.
and that's like how
Yeah.
most of the demos sound is like me just wailing on a guitar. There were a couple times where like Tony was like, "I'm gonna make you play this in the ring." Like this is not.
100%.
Yeah.
I just think that that's what I like about live music. That's what I like a show is about. It's just the rawest version of things. I love the industry. Not really. But I love other voices in the room. I think everything exists within collaboration, especially with, singular artists, working with other people, like what you got with him, what you got with other people in the studio. That's why I ask about collaborators a lot. But there's something about singing in the shower. There's something about a voice memo as a kid. There's something about these things that feel so raw and genuine to you that the further you go in your career, you're going to be so happy you have this because it's not even going to be like a self-restriction. It's just going to be, you're going to start thinking like the people you depend on for marketing. You're going to, like, you're always going to be a musician, but you're going to become a brand. And this is like raw and true. And that's always like where you start. I think that's where a lot of people land.
Yeah, God, I can't imagine becoming a brand.
If I ever
You kind of are one.
Shoot.
As TikTok.
That I think something I will add to that is that that recording was taken like while working with Tony. Before Tony and I started working on the record, we did a month together where I would play him songs and he'd be like, "That's great," or he'd be like, "Dang, you're so great."
But that's
Yeah. And I remember when I played him that song for the first time, the verses were, "I was half drunk walking you to bed. I was older than you, but I was younger back then." It was like so like quirky country.
Yeah.
But it was the same melody the whole way through, and so he definitely invited me to switch it up.
So what's next?
This is the end of my year's booked. I basically have a month to finish up album 2.
Can we hear the name? Or not yet?
Oh, I wish I had.
Okay, that's okay.
No,
Jake Finch.
I've got another legal name.
Yeah.
George Paul.
I like it.
Yeah. But no, I basically I have a month to like write a couple more.
You're doing that here because you live here.
Yes.
Wonderful.
And I'm starting to meet collaborators that like know how to write a pop song. And I don't think I want to write a pop song, but if it's there, I'd play it.
You'll try it out.
Yeah. And then I'm doing like some final sessions in LA in May. And then I will be hopping on Joshua Sloan's tour bus. I'll be going on tour with him until the beginning of July. I think I'm going to spend 4th of July with my uncle.
Beautiful.
And then
That's what uncles are for.
yeah, and then we're kicking off album 2 if all goes well.
I know.
Hopefully. Yeah.
Well, Jake, thank you so much
Thank you
for
for
coming here and for
So
bringing the
fun.
demo so vulnerable. We're so grateful.
Thank you.
And you're amazing.
Thank
And come to Raise.
I-
Come drink some of my lives.
I'll stay.
Yeah, as you should.
They're gonna have to wheel me out of here.
And I will. I will. Awesome. Thank you guys so much.